Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for August 16th through 20th, 2021. Wow. Well, we are having a very interesting time here as we are having a lot of the planets come into harmonious trines. And it's a very different energy because all year long for 2021, we've had square after square after square. T-squares and tension aspects. And the squares are about pushing us into change. The next week or two of astrology has a lot of energy about harmonizing to these changes. And yes, there's big changes coming in our world. There's truth coming to light. There's darkness being exposed. But can this be harmonized? So today, Venus moves over into her home sign of Libra. She loves it at Libra. Venus is just craves harmony and peace and beauty. Can it just be sweet and nice? And indeed, the rest of the planets are in agreement as this lining up occurs. Now, Black Moon Lilith Venus coming into Libra is going to be making a trine with Black Moon Lilith later this week, and in Gemini. So an air trine, bringing the air element, speaking to the voice of the feminine. This Libra energy has this, about a perfect balance. And that also, of course, speaks to the masculine and the feminine. And so in order for us to come into harmony, to come into a balance in our world, we so desperately are craving as our psyche, humanity's psyche is expanding and awakening and opening, even though we're getting the stories of the complete opposite, right? And but in order to be able to maintain the level of harmony which the consciousness of humanity is demanding, the voice of the feminine must be heard, right? That voice of compassionate reason, along with our intellectual problem-solving capabilities. So that's a very powerful energy because Venus in trine to Black Moon Lilith there at the beginning of Gemini. Black Moon Lilith is about the deepest, darkest secrets. And Gemini has an energy of communication and wanting to express and relate to each other. So this is saying it's a very harmonized, beautiful thing. It's like, yes, we can do this. We can be harmonized. We can bring the dark into the light and so it's almost like, yes, some deep darkness has to be revealed, but that's also awakening and expressing the voice of the true, balanced, healthy, whole feminine. And so a very sweet energy because we've had all these squares all this whole year with Black Moon Lilith there in Taurus, now in Gemini, and this trine, so an air trine. And we've got the air energy flowing in a harmonious way, and Venus moving into Libra, claiming and desiring, and it's almost like the value of beauty and nature and harmony and peace. And so then the other thing that's happening is that Mercury is now in Virgo. So Mercury rules Virgo and Venus rules Libra. So Mercury and Venus both in their home sign, very sweet, very stabilizing energy. Mercury in Virgo coming up to Mars in Virgo. Now, this is really powerful because when Mars and Mercury come together, it's about an activated mind. It's about overcoming problems and creative solutions, like really being able, it's like putting the mind and the master together, the warrior and the mind, right? The art of war. And so together in Virgo, this is about this energy of cleaning up, getting organized, and moving forward in a whole new way. So then Mercury and Mars together in Virgo is very powerful in itself. But as they come together, they're coming into a trine with Uranus in Taurus. And we have just come off of an incredibly intense couple of weeks with Saturn square Uranus being activated by our personal planets. And this is the 2021 astrology. Now, Uranus in Taurus, square to Saturn in Aquarius. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, speaking to how do we get into the Aquarian age? And Uranus in Taurus says it's a revolution of wealth and value, because Taurus represents our physical body. It represents physical form. It represents having what we need to survive and our self-worth and value and money. And so Uranus is unexpected, sudden changes, and that's kind of like, even though we're inching our way along in this very strange dual reality timeline, crisscross, whatever, we know that radical change lies ahead. That at some point, there's going to have to be a sudden change. You can just feel it in the air. And that's exactly the energy of Uranus. And the radical change we're looking at in order to be able to move into the age of Aquarius is this revolution of wealth. What's truly valuable? Is it who you are in the world and all the, physical accomplishments and things, items that you've accumulated? That's not wealth. You can't take it with you. But the human component of compassion and love is the wealth. And our empathy, our intuitive ability, our higher faculties. Uranus rules higher technology. And that's the age of Aquarius, but it's about coming full circle, where instead of the technologies are used against us and to hurt us, humanity, and hurt the world, these alien technologies that have been kept from us, stolen from us again and again, being used only for the betterment of humanity and for that harmony. Now, the whole key to all of this is that, there's just this bigger story to man that we have not yet fully understood. Actually, some of us have, right? We have to remember that for a lot of humanity in this process, there's this beautiful awakening happening to their spiritual nature, coming aware of who they are, not just as a physical body bag, right? But some of us already knew that, already fully embodied our higher technology. And so it's a remembering, it's a reawakening. And that's such a powerful place to be. So we have to understand and remember that even though we know there's a lot of dark truths and dark things that need to come to light, there's also this incredible, at the same time, parallel. Can't have one without the other. As these dark truths come to light that are being cleansed and healed and revealed and exposed from our planet, at the same time, the light is being revealed. The true light of man, the true potential of who we are as consciousness aware of itself in physical form. That remembering of that God consciousness within you. And this is why you've gone through everything you've gone through and made it right here, right now, to be alive, breathing, living on this planet right now. And that kind of brings a point forward, right? It's like part of the problem with our world and the deadness of it is like how people aren't really living. This is like humans have been kept as slaves, and they're slaves, and there's so much potential. We're not here to work for the man, to pay our bills. That's like, there's just way too much other great stuff we came here to do. That's the abundance. That's the wealth, is what's inside the human soul. So it's an incredible time of this great reveal. And it brings to mind the word apocalypse, which has kind of come to know like, oh, the end times, and what apocalypse really means is a removing of the veil, and that might be really helpful for supernova souls right now, being so sensitive to the crazy insanity that we're going through and living through in the events of this world. And remember that darkness cannot be revealed without the light of humanity being revealed at the same time. And guess what? That's you, because you are remembering and reawakening to your potential. So this is being harmonized right now. It's a time of preparation for this unveiling. that's inevitably going to happen. And so it's a time of like um, paying attention to the messages, because when Mercury and Uranus are interacting, there's this great connection between the higher mind and the lower mind, our regular everyday mind, and then our higher mind, which is also Uranus represents our higher mind, our higher self, our future self, and the technologies um, that are, physical technologies and intuitive technologies. And so it's like we have this kind of, when Uranus is activated with Mercury, it's like there's this avenue open for communication from your higher self and guidance and clarity. It's very different from the clarity and guidance we've been looking for in the past and how we've worked with it, though. This is a moment to moment, okay, because Mercury in Virgo is that mutable sign, right? And so Mercury at home in Virgo, it's like, okay, wait, the mastermind is the one that pays attention and is fully present to be able to adjust to the present energies, right? And, when we're fighting what's happening, we can't really work with it. We're chasing our tail, right? But when you're right there with it, you're on the edge of time and you can be the mastermind, right? Because Mercury and Mars, the warrior and the mastermind in Virgo together in the sweet trine with Uranus, is saying, hey, we can do this. Maybe that's all it, right? Maybe the solution through this difficult period of time is really about humanity connecting to that higher mind and the bigger picture and the bigger purpose. Now, if we're looking at Uranus being that radical change and sudden change and higher vibrational energy, in square to Saturn this year, it's talking about this sudden change to physical reality. Saturn in our manifest world, but Saturn's at Aquarius, which is kind of speaking to not so physical, more like plasma and what are we doing? And so it's a very interesting energy, because there's so much prediction around like Uranus and Taurus bringing, and we are having events on the earth. But this energy is saying it's not about that. We already played out that old story of the breaking of the earth. When we recognize that we're not physical, and physical is just a representation of who we really are, then the physical doesn't have to be traumatic anymore. It doesn't have to break. It can be harmonized. What we've been shown is solid and cling to, like, for dear life. Science has proven us is not solid. And it only looks solid when we think it's there. So it doesn't have to break. It doesn't have to be traumatic, right? And that's kind of the message. It's like we're in a time of this great unveiling, and that is also, it's the darkness being revealed, but also the light within, the true potential of humanity. And can you put your attention there on it's an awakening to deep, dark truths, but it's also a reawakening. And you have been put in a position through your dedication and devotion and everything you've gone through to be here right now, to be on the cutting edge of this unveiling. And so allow this harmonious period of time to support you in that guidance, that moment-to-moment guidance, to be right where you need to be at the right time, present and aware and prepared for what is to come. Because there's definitely some energy of like, at some point, you, supernova soul, have a very specific role and a very specific part in a whole play that you've been waiting and waiting. And are you ready? And I know it's hard to be ready when you have no freaking clue what's going on, but this is where we start to feel it. We feel the awakening. The unveiling, the apocalypse, is really this activation of the God code of America, of humanity, maybe America leading the way, but humanity waking up and saying, hey, whoa, we're so much more and we're so powerful, and don't tread on me, Now, so this really beautiful Mercury, Mars, mastermind in trine to Uranus, saying the revolution of wealth. Oh, intuitive knowing, peace and harmony, vibration, That's, and that's the thing that cuts to the chase. It's like we all want the same thing, no matter what we have been programmed to believe, no matter what we think we're fighting for, no matter what side we think we're on. Underneath, humanity is all the same, and we all want the same thing. We want to live our life, we want to live, we want to experience, we want to express. And in order to fully do that, you need a harmonious, supportive environment. And the earth with the control energies in charge has been anything but that for so many people. And now it just cannot be allowed to go on. So yes, massive radical changes and an exposure of the darkest dark and an exposure of the lightest light, which it only takes one small flame to light the room, So so we've got that air trine with Venus and Libra to Black Moon Lilith this week. And then we've got Mercury, Mars in trine to Uranus and Earth trine. And then we've got a sweet energy of the backdrop of Pluto in Capricorn has now retrograded back to 24 degrees, and Neptune has retrograded back to 22, so they're back to 2 degrees apart again. We've had this on and off this year, but they don't get all the way in sextile. But the fact that they're 2 degrees in sextile, and this is like a very sweet backdrop, and it's about sextiles are 2 signs apart, 60 degrees. So it's like not the next one, but the next one over. And it's like bridging gaps and creative solutions. And so in this way, the creative solutions has to do with the structures of power in authority, Pluto in Capricorn, and Neptune in Pisces, dreaming and visioning, and the power of the oneness principle. Now, that oneness principle was in the mystical spiritual revelation of the Piscean age. That energy was used to further control humanity. But this is about coming out from under those chains, of humanity coming back into its own personal spiritual autonomy, recognizing they have a direct connection and it's their God-given right. It's not just a right, it just is, it just is. And science has even proven that we're fractals of God consciousness. And when are we going to start living like that? And what does that look like? And that's exactly what this astrology is about. Because this backdrop is like, humanity, this is how you get out of the trap. Here's your solution, right? You got to come back into your direct connection to God consciousness. Claim that spiritual mystical revelation, not as an outside event. Can you feel it happening on a cellular level? There's a huge cleansing happening. So make sure to take the time of preparation. The messages come through in this time of preparation. It's very important to do self-care because there's radical changes happening to your physical body with this light coming in, with these these codes being activated. And so just support your physical body. That's like your first line, just as much as you can, support the detox and the changes happening in your physical form. And so it's a really sweet energy, and it's all about this, it's like layers of, we've got these trines, 2 trines and sextiles, and it's just a sweet angles lining up for us. The other one we have is that Saturn is in trine to coming just 1 degree. This is one we felt a lot of the year too, in and out. Saturn in trine to the North Node. So the North Node in Gemini, another air trine, Saturn in Aquarius. And they're just 1 degree out for this next week here. And so that is harmonizing this way forward into building in the Aquarian age, and speaking to the voice of truth and communication is how we do this. So it's kind of like, here we are poised in this, but in a very harmonious way. Yep, radical changes, but it's okay. We can do it. And yep, dark to light. Exposure, the nastiness. But when there's harmony and peace and togetherness and connection, it's okay. We can handle it, right? It's interesting because the trauma of trauma is just a part of the human experience because we're in physical form, right? And um, but at the same time, the trauma, if a trauma occurs for a human soul in their experience, if there's energies of support and healing available, validation and recognition and healing, then that trauma, there's nothing that can't be healed. But when it's unaddressed, and then that's where humanity has gotten to this point of like shock and immobilization, you know. Um, and so it's kind of like this astrology is saying, yeah, it's traumatic, but if that trauma makes this huge compassionate wave and bringing people together in a way that is an unbreakable soul bond of love and expansion of the true human gifts and abilities and wealth, you know, then we can get through it. So we've got to put our attention and our energy on the wealth that we are, which is this human compassion, love, embodiment of source, ability to mastermind our way, creative solutions, and that true potential of mankind, of humankind, being brought into the light as the light itself. And that one light in the dark room is just so much more powerful than all of that, even though it's intense, right? It's all the darkness that needs to be exposed, but don't forget that it's really about the unveiling of the light. So thank you so much for being here, Supernova Soul. Take advantage of this time of healing, cleansing, preparation, visioning. See, now it's cool because that sextile with Pluto and Neptune, that's way back there, but the big planets that are just moving so slow, but it's a very sweet backdrop energy of support in these creative solutions. And it brings in the water element of Neptune and Pisces of like, yeah, we can, if this was some sort of weird dream that's being exposed to us right now, then we can dream a different dream. It's up to us, the dream we dream. So let's dream the dream we came here to dream and live that dream on a cellular level. And that walking in the garden and just, it's almost like saying yes to this big human potential that's in you, and letting it unfold moment to moment, what that means for you. Now it's like there's a whole different person landing home into your field, this potential. And so we can use that energy of vision and dreaming and imagining and something new and different. And so we've got the air trine, we've got very powerful earth trine, 2 air trines, very powerful earth trine with Mercury and Mars. And then we've got the sextile with earth and water, bringing that water element. And then the fire is the sun in Leo. Here for this next week, Sun's last week in Leo, a very powerful energy speaking to exactly what we've been talking about, man's potential. So we got all this harmonized, and then and all this alchemy, and then where does the fire come in? And that's the sun rules Leo, right? Sun. And the sun is the message of like, hey, you guys, everything that you thought was outside of yourself as power is actually within you. You've got the light of the sun in your heart. You are the God self right here. And so, wow, what a beautiful alchemical, magical moment. And so allow yourself to be harmonized, allow your process to be harmonized, allow the detox, rest, take care of yourself, and prepare for what is to come. Because, and keep out of the gutter of the black pill energy, and keep your vibration in this place of the vision and the hope, because everybody's, if you really research, there's dark truths that have to come out, and that's where the focus is on, right? The revealing of corruption, the revealing of very dark crimes against humanity. But like we said, at the same time, the unveiling of the true potential of man. And there's really good things coming too, right? New financial system, a whole completely different relationship to money, And that all has to do with, see, Uranus rules this type of technology that can turn it around and go back where. So there's this new financial system that's being developed and already implemented in some countries, and it's a quantum financial system. And there's an element to it of the quantum energy that fits this Uranus energy in Taurus, and that it's very difficult in that quantum energy to use resources for negative events or things, bad things, and so it's a complete change of that technology now working for humanity again, and that very much rules this Uranus and Taurus really speaks to this, and so this is part of the harmony. We have to remember, like, a way more supportive, beautiful financial system right around the corner, and it feels like there's possibly these heroes behind the scenes that we haven't even met yet, that are very powerful leaders, here to inspire us and lead us into this new future. So really beautiful things being unveiled at the same time as the darkness. And that's part of why it's taking so long. It's almost like the psyche of humanity to have to face these dark truths, right? Got to bring light, comes with it, and you're on that team. Are you ready to have fun and get back to work and doing what you're really here to do? It feels so good. That full expression of your potential that's beyond what you even can imagine, right? But this is the energy of this micro adjustments in the mind, like my conception, reality. I'm open. What? That's this mastermind energy. So use it to your advantage. Let that cleansing and healing happen with this Virgo energy, and yet let this alchemical time support you in this activation into your true potential. This great unveiling, this apocalypse, this unveiling of the true nature of man as that God radiating love here, embodied and aware itself and ready to use it for exactly. It's almost, maybe there's a metaphor of like our technology as intuitive souls being so, when we find out this is part of the darkness, right? Like how much manipulation, mind control experiments and things have gone on, and that's all about trying to get us as intuitive beings to create and be a part of the negative agendas, right? The dark agendas of hurting people. It's weird how you talk about light and dark, and there's always these comments like, well, it's all within us and da 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 da. It's like, yeah, but when we find out the level of manipulation that's happened and how black and white it really is, that there's souls that want to help and love and be and just be human, and then there's some other stuff going on, and then there's humans that have gotten sucked in. We got to have compassion for them. We got to pull them back out of those dark places. There's those souls, though, that remember and are reawakening, and you may have been tarnished, you may have been put in the gutter, you may have been all these things that have happened to you and cast aside by society. But now is your time to remember and reawaken. And maybe that's exactly what's happening, is because we're taking back our intuitive machinery, our God-given right, our own. It's in our body. It's ours. We've developed it through many lifetimes as a soul. We're taking back that power. It's just like the quantum financial system. Instead of that quantum energy being used to control us through technology, it's being used to support the highest level of expression of the human and this experience. And that's exactly what's going on with our technology, the activation of the God code. And we're saying no longer playing in your matrix, right? And this is this like activation, that sextile of Neptune and Pisces, just a veil. It's like as we remember and as we reawaken, those antics just cannot hold. That shame that was put upon you cannot stick. You were purified soul when you came into this earth evolution. Yeah, we all took it on. We had to, but it doesn't stick. You are unadulterable. And so now it's time to come back into this claiming of your purity as a soul and your light and your love. And it's like, yeah, this is the wealth revolution. You know, you're either helping and caring or you're hurting. What side are you on? Right? It's like, are you on the right side of history? Where is your heart? Do you have one? Remember awakening and humanity all awakening to this huge heart, but you know it's there and it's why you've been through so much, why it's been so hard. But are you ready to stand up and reap the benefits of the work that you've done and your wealth and claim back your technology to be used only for the harmonious good? And so there's no in between. You can't play kind of for the dark and kind of for the light anymore. And that's a big part of what's been going on behind the scenes and energetically, you know? And it's now time for that unveiling. And maybe, I think they're going to happen concurrently. This true potential of humanity and the darkest dark that we need to face in order to never let it happen again. So really powerful astrology. And a great time to center, adjust, heal, release, harmonize, cleanse. You know, your God code is awakening, your heart is awakening. Your regular life might be weird for a little while as you adjust to this. So give yourself as much time and love and care as you can, you know? So I look forward, have a wonderful week. Hang in there. We'll see what happens. Oh, we have coming up next weekend, we've got a second full moon in Aquarius. And so this whole energy of these trines and this energy after all these squares, and then it's moving us into our second full moon in Aquarius. The first one happened at the very beginning of Aquarius, and this one happens at 29 degrees, 37 minutes. That's exactly that shift of ages point that Jupiter is going over 3 times. And so how powerful to have 2 Aquarius full moons on, you know, in this year with this current astrology, all about flipping that switch over into the Aquarian age. So very powerful full moon, and that's happening on Sunday, August 2nd. 22nd. So really powerful energies. Hang in there, be present, be the mastermind by showing up and claiming back your intuitive power for what you would like to do in your alignment in your heart, and be that flip of the switch, be that remembering, that reawakening, and be that light that is been in your heart but got all locked up and is now coming back to that full expression. That's the sun in Leo for the last week. It's like, boom, this is what it's about, you guys. This is what the Aquarian age is about. It's the full potential of humanity. And that doesn't come with this shadowy, hidden corruption, slime, darkness. It just doesn't fit, right? See where we're going in the Aquarian age and why we're going through all we are. So thank you so much for being here. You have no idea. I hope you're starting to feel the guidance and support that's been with you all along, but you haven't been able to access because of our spiritual quarantine. And let that back into your life as the mastermind that you are reawakens within you. So have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.